Oh, well, hello there, you guys, and welcome back to another little episode of Warframes. And today, as you can see, we are looking at the lovely Gyre Electric Boogaloo Ballerina. And I have to say, why did no one tell me that she's freaking awesome, especially on high level? Oh my goodness. So I dusted her off. I actually had 2 Gyres. I've helminted one. I'm actually working on building a third. I'll have 2 different formers, different icon loadout. You know what I'm like. Anyway, yeah, turns out she's really freaking awesome if you use her correctly. So we're gonna look at that in this episode, and I just have to say, I'm not telling you how to mod her. I'm just saying, look, this is how I'm doing it with the help of a lovely person in game and on my Discord. Goes by the name of Vendy. He has been so useful and so helpful and incredibly patient in trying to help me get this build right. So we're going to look at all of that. Let's go and find out where we get her from, and let's just go and see how many red and orange crits we can get out of this delicious Warframe. So in order to get the component parts, the blueprints for Gyre, you need to have unlocked the Zariman and be heading towards their bounties there. I won't go into how you get to the Zariman at this point. I have done a whole Zariman guide episode. Go and check that out if you'd like to find out. And as you can see here, we have the Gyre Optics dropping from one of the bounties here. The bounties can be quite tricky. Some of them are higher level and they have like a prerequisite in that little bounty box to the left there, what you've got to complete before you complete it. The actual bounty. And there you go, Gyre and your optics have dropped, and Steel Essence. Did I do this on Steelpath? The hell? And Gyre chassis drop there. And then you head to your foundry and cry a little bit, because you're going to need a lot of stuff like Thrax Plasm, wow, Void Bloom Quills, 40, yeah, and you're going to need Void Gel Orbs. And also, here we go, you can buy her from the market for 325 plat. And once you've acquired her, let's have a look at her abilities. Her passive is a 10% chance to deal critical damage for each electrical status that affects the enemy, and that is quite important. And her first ability, the Arc Sphere, launches a gyratory sphere that deals high damage on impact and periodically deals electric damage. I kind of like those spheres, I've kept those ones. And second, Coil Horizon. This is the one I actually helmet off. It basically pulls everything towards it in a sort of magnetic draw and then explodes the enemies, or, helps you get them into one place before you kill them all. So her third and fourth abilities are very important. Cathode Grace, gain a brief burst of increased crit chance and energy regen, and each kill extends the duration of Cathode Grace. And honestly, this ability combined with the fourth one, combined with what I'm going to helmet onto it, this build is kind of delicious. And finally, Rotor. This kind of works in conjunction with Cathode Grace, because when you get a critical hit, a large electrical discharge will chain from enemy to enemy. And it goes off. It pops off if you can get those crit hits up. Oh my goodness. We're going to see it in action, and I'm just going to tell you a couple more things about her passives. And with Gyre, the devil is definitely in the detail. So Gyre's abilities inflict electricity status, which her passive then converts into additional crit chance. And as you remember, Cathode Grace and Rotor Swell both work on that critical chance chain. Cathode Grace works best when there are many targets to kill. Modding for increased ability duration coupled with a steady stream of kills helps maximize uptime before the casting cooldown. If you mod it correctly, you'll never have to pop it more than once in the mission unless it gets wiped off for any reason. Cathode Grace stacks with Gyre's passive ability up to a maximum of 300% combined crit chance. Remember, the crit chance causes the chain reaction in Rotor Swell. Oh yeah. And here they're actually telling you Gyre's excellent crit hit potential makes it easy to trigger Rotor Swell's discharge frequently. Max her passive, use Cathode Grace, or equip a weapon with high crit chance stats to take advantage. This doesn't apply to helmet abilities. Now, the other thing about Gyre that's interesting is she only has one Augment Mod. So, Cathode Current, it can be got from the Arbiters of Hexus and Perrin sequence syndicates, or traded from other players, and eliminating an enemy while Cathode Grace is active will release an additional discharge from the Rotor Swell ability with 200% damage and extend its duration by the same amount. It's like cheating, honestly. Okay, so let's look at the Gyre build. So this was the first iteration, and it was okay. It was doing really well. It was off overframe, but it needed tweaking, definitely. The arcanes are wrong. The ability I helmeted on was raw. That's all wrong. And you really don't need redirection. So I sent this to our lovely Vendy. For some reason, I've called him Vindy up on the top right config. I was typing quickly, and he gave me some other advice. So I do have 2 other builds. One is my own that I've tweaked and one is his. They're very similar apart from, like, the fact that I don't actually have the fully ranked arcane that he advised, and I think there's one mod difference. So let's have a look at those. So now we're into sort of my iteration of Vendy's build that he guided me on. There's one mod I think different, and I don't have a fully ranked arcane energize. That's an energy related arcane, obviously. An arcane Aegis provides a X% chance whenever the player receives damage to shields to regenerate those shields for 12 seconds. So that's actually very important with this build, especially with pillage, because that's Hildren's ability, and that tops up your shields and strips armor from your enemies. Oh yes. And the arcane energize, it provides basically extra energy. You get an X amount of percentage chance to pick up more energy when you pick up an energy orb, and it scales up. So it goes, I think, up to 150 energy per energy orb once you fully ranked it. So I will be trying to do that. They're hard to get hold of. Anyway, let's have a quick look at Vendy's build. So on Vendy's build, he's got Power Drift up in the Circulus mod there station, and I've got, I think it was Prime Sure-Footed. And instead of Augur Secrets, he's got Rolling Guard. And Rolling Guard, basically, you become invulnerable on dodge for 3 seconds, and it removes all status effects with a 7-second cooldown. I'm pretty sure that's the only difference in the mod configuration, and as you can see, it's slightly lower strength and slightly longer duration. So I started using my own, but I have Vendy to thank for the main kind of bulk of this build, definitely. And let's talk Archon Shards for a moment. These are going to do nothing but help you in your Warframe situation. So originally I had 2 reds, 2 blues and a yellow. As you can see, I've now got 2 reds, a blue, a yellow and a violet. I've done a whole separate episode on how you make these Archon Shards, these new ones. This is a Tower Forged violet, and I was determined to make 2 because you gain 15% ability damage on, I think, enemies affected by electricity status. So of course, we're an electric boogaloo. It's gonna do nothing but help us. So there you go, I'm shoving in a second Tower Forged violet Archon Shard, and that's gonna do nothing but help us. And before we get into the killing, let's have a look at the weapons that came up. So the Amprex came up first-ish because it fires a continuous beam of high voltage electricity that arcs among nearby enemies and excels at crowd control. I mean, what's not to like? And as you can see on the screen, Vendy was patiently giving me a guide towards, I've got a Riven build and a non-Riven build, which will be on the screen next if you want to copy them. And it was really good with Gyre. It's just another primary weapon, actually sort of felt better when I was using it. So we're going to go over that next, and I'm going to show you some of that footage eventually. And the secondary comes in the form of the Epitaph, Sevagoth's signature weapon, which fires a chilling slow-moving slab guaranteed to slow enemies for easier marksmanship. Charge it to fire a punishing high-velocity, high-critical chance that punches through barriers, and it deals additional headshot damage in Sevagoth's hands. We're using the Epitaph as a primer. It basically acts like, I think Vendy said it acts like raw, essentially, and sort of creates a damage buff when Gyre's abilities pop the enemies, and it seems to work. I'm going to show you some of the builds that we've been using. And I have to say, these are purely Vendy's builds. So this one is a non-Riven build, and as you can see, the status is like 180 something. I don't have a full secondary encumber, so I think I ended up changing that arcane anyway. So there you go. I think I put a full primed fulmination. I don't know why it is when sometimes you copy a config from someone else's config, it gives you like some wacky stuff sometimes. And here you go, here's the Riven. So I actually got myself a Riven, I bought it, and I rolled it 20 times, and it came up with status chance and status duration. And actually Vendy said that was very, very good because it was identical to the Riven build he's got, more or less. So there you go. Those are the Epitaph builds for your delectation. I'm not going to go over the melee because I rarely use the melee in the higher end missions, but it's the actual Acceltra Prime that I actually decided felt better than using the Amprex. I know, I'm amazed. And I do have Riven, as you can see, it's increased critical chance and just damage stats there. In case you're wondering, you could build just an electric kind of status version of it. And companion-wise, I took my Adaza Kavat Cookie Crumble because they come with the Cat's Eye mod, which basically gives you an increased critical chance effect. I think it's every 20 seconds. There you go, to yourself and allies. How useful is that, especially with this whole crit thing going on with Gyre? So just before we get into comparing the Amprex with the Acceltra and then going on to very high level Omnia Fishers, I just wanted to say thank you to Vendy, because he was never like, it has to be done this way. He was very much saying, well, there are specific things that have to be here, but you can tweak everything else. You can have a really high kind of quality build, or you can have like the lower versions and still be fine. There were options. So if you need help, come to my Discord and ask Vendy for builds. He's so good. And he's so patient. I just also want to say that I use the Ineru School of Focus because of the Caustic Strike. Look at that. Oh, that's right. It strips 100% of their armor. What's not to like? And there are other little bonuses towards the Ineru, especially with rezzing yourself as well. And this Caustic Strike with the Ineru Wisp, seeking out nearest allies and dealing damage. I mean, just tweak them, just keep working at them. I personally find it very useful. So let's finally get stuck into using it. I went to do on normal, not Steelpath, a Omnia Fisher on Lure Circulus, I believe, and it was 90 to 100 level enemies, and it's fine with the Amprex. It's doing okay, it's good. But between this and the next clip, you'll see a massive difference, and I did some work in between the clips where I used the Acceltra Prime on Steelpath Omnia Fisher, which is much higher level. So we'll get into the order of operations shortly, but let's just watch some of this. Oh, I forgot how good the Epitaph sounds. Can't wait for the primed version to come out in possibly August, I think. Anyway, stayed in for a while with the Amprex. It was fine. Killed some enemies. Woo. However, between that and what you're about to see next, a lot happened. I did a lot of practicing, but look, we're on Steelpath, Circulus Omnia Fisher, 200 plus level enemies solo. So let's get into that. The first thing I should say about using Gyre is it's like an order of operations. So you basically need some energy, obviously. Pop her 3, kill some stuff. Pop her 4th ability, kill some more stuff. And then pop her second ability. For me now, that's Pillage. That then boosts up her shields, as you can see. They've gone up to 1,850, sorry. And that will strip armor from nearby enemies as well. And that's it. All you gotta do is keep killing stuff. Gyre will kill stuff alongside your weapon. And just pop the second ability, Pillage, now and again to keep your shields up and obviously strip them of armor. Oh, and obviously we have our first ability, the balls, the spheres that will pulsate electrical damage out to the enemies as we look at the crits. Oh my god, it gets crazy, guys. So, are you ready? Like, buckle up, strap yourself in, put a helmet on, maybe get a bucket for all the dribble that you're about to drool, and at these crits. Oh my god, apart from, I did die a couple of times, but I'm still practicing. This was literally, I think, my second go on this extremely high level stuff. Yeah, no buffs other than Gyre's buffs. No Helpy Helpertons. I think I might pop a Helpy Helperton out later, but right now you're just watching pure Gyre and the weapons. And oh, thank you, Vendy. Thank you. Let's get into it. like, is it just me, or is this whole thing insane? Is this how you guys play the game? What's going on? How do you deal with all the stuff and the things on the screen? Oh my goodness, it was so intensely satisfying seeing those red and orange crits commonly, routinely, regularly popping up on my screen. Oh my goodness. I can see now. I can see why people like the meta. I get it. I don't know if this is meta or not. I'm not sure. But all I know is that I had a blast getting to this point. Now, this didn't happen overnight. This has been literally in the works for like probably since I did the Zaraman episode, which is a good couple of weeks ago now. Obviously, my prep takes about a week or two, and the editing and the uploading and all that. It's not like I record, edit, and upload and publish in one day. It just doesn't happen like that. So getting to this point where I'm doing 200 plus Steelpath Omnia Fishers solo, and I only died a couple of times, it's like literally amazing. It boggles my brain. And I really do have Vendy to thank for his guidance and his patience and his trying to explain it in a way that I can understand it, because I'm a bit of a dum-dum when it comes to modding, and also like that priming thing with the Epitaph. I've never really thought of it like that before. I understood it happening to a degree, but I'm very much like run up to their faces and like shoot them or smack them in the face, you know, like I'm not very tactical. Not very subtle. But that, guys, what the hell, wasn't that awesome? Wouldn't you agree? So there you go. It took all of my strength not to put in a whole hour of just killing stuff like that. That red and orange crit is addictive. With my beautiful Gyre, the Electric Boogaloo Ballerina. We're here for you. By the way, if you want to come and join the Discord, please do. Don't think if you're new that you can't come and join the Discord. There are a lot of newer players there on their journey, and the more experienced players are more than happy to help you and advise you if you need it. If you don't want it, that's absolutely fine. Please don't feel intimidated. It's taken me so long to get to this point. I just wanted to share the joy and the love. And also, while I'm here, I just want to say a massive thank you to those of you who have subbed. We reached the 2,000 sub mark. I couldn't have done it without you, and I can't be more grateful. But in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for watching. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what that may be. But in the meantime, you take care now, and goodbye.